powered by Riverside.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is 2:01. It is a beautiful Wednesday here at Toyota Field. It's the Bullpen. I'm Tony Mack. That, of course, right there is Tricky Ricky. And my goodness, man, we've made it to 2023. The holidays are over. Our New Year's break, our Christmas break are done. We're back in the swing of things. I'll be honest with you. I feel absolutely rejuvenated. Like the break I got for Christmas, and then we came back for a week. I took an extra day and then came back after the New Year. I got my fill of family. My wife traveled a little with the National, took my dad to the Music City Bowl.
Saw that.
It was an awful game. God, it was awful.
You probably knew that going into it.
Yeah.
Iowa, Kentucky, not going to be
It was so on brand for Iowa that it hurt. Iowa had 2 pick sixes in that game and 1 offensive touchdown with a final score of 21-0. All the scoring was done at halftime, which is when we left to go downtown and watch some real football.
Smart.
And it was so on brand that it hurt.
How many people were at that game?
Dude, it was a nice crowd. You know what's funny is we took my dad and my brother kind of took a little bet on that to see how many were there. We all took our guesses, but we never found out how many were there. That's a good question.
That's the Nissan Stadium, right? Home of the Titans.
Yeah.
Like 60,000 capacity.
I think it's like 65, 70.
Something like that.
What it fits. Yeah, but I guess on the higher end. My brother and my dad both guessed 20,000. Both guessed 20,000. I said as it was starting to fill in, I said about 33.
No way.
Dude, Iowa traveled well for that game. Well, it probably realistically.
I believe that. This time of year, if you're Iowa, you're like, dude, give us a bowl somewhere in the South, please. We'll go for it. Even if it's going to be like, was that the weekend? It was like 6 degrees, or was that the weekend after? It was a little nicer, wasn't it?
It was a little wet, but it was like 58, 60 degrees.
Oh, that's an Iowa summer right there. That's big time.
Let's see the capacity was here. Let's see what we had. It just says what the capacity
69,000. Oh, capacity.
It just says what capacity. That is not how many people.
Yeah, whatever. So you went to the game. That was cool.
Yeah, and I got my fill of family and friends and everything. I don't feel like I missed out on anything over the break. So I came back and I felt good. I felt ready to get back into things. That 1 week between Christmas and New Year, wasn't really feeling it. I'm fine now. I'm back at it. I feel good. We got this beautiful brand new field out here to look at. We're gonna have baseball in that field here in about a month and a half. So feel good, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm like you. I'm rejuvenated as well. The time away was nice. It was like a 4-day weekend right there. And that week after Christmas and before New Year's, I didn't realize how much I loved that week until this week happened. Because now everything's real again. You know, that week after Christmas and before New Year's, nothing even counts, right? Nothing's
true.
Nothing's right. No one's schedules are the same. No one's like, you don't have any, have a late Christmas party. I don't think that's happening. You just got time. Boy, do I like some time. But now it's time to rock and roll, Tony Mac. It's 2023. We got Pandas baseball in almost exactly 3 months,
dude,
which is wild to think about.
That is nuts.
Football's pretty much over. College football closes out on Monday. The pros are heading into week 18. We don't know what's going on there, especially after the Monday night football. It doesn't matter if you're a football fan or not, you know exactly what happened on Monday Night Football with the Bills and Damar Hamlin there. It was a wild week, man. Wild week, but it's getting closer to Pandas baseball, and I'm here for it, man. We're looking at the field right now. Colby's out there mowing the infield grass.
It looks so good.
It's all new grass, by the way, too. We totally flipped the field during the offseason, and it looks beautiful, which is what you'd expect when you have the number 1 grounds crew in all of minor league baseball. 120 teams.
120 teams. The best crew. Number 1.
Numero uno right there. So it's getting time, buddy.
By the way, capacity at the Music City Bowl is 42,000.
That's how many people were there?
Mm-hmm.
I would have guessed 14.
No, it was very loud.
I didn't watch the game because I have a life.
Alabama was playing at the same time.
Yeah. So, which that would say, Todd should make playoff.
Dude, what a turn of events in that game too, right? I mean, it's 14-10. Kansas State goes up 10-0. Alabama brings it back 14-10 right there before halftime, like a minute or something left. And Kansas State's got 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. And it goes from not getting it, instead of kicking the field goal, they miss it. Alabama gets it on the 2-yard line. And instead of going into the half up 17-14 or down 14-13 or just down 14-10, Alabama turns that missed 4th down conversion into a 98-yard drive. And that was the backbreaker. That was the backbreaker for the game. Then Alabama comes out in the second half. Kansas State tries to onside kick to start the second half. Alabama gets it and turns that into a touchdown. And then Kansas State goes a quick 3-and-out. Alabama then, again, very quick touchdown. It went from 14-10 right before halftime to 35-10 really fast.
Chris Kleiman fell into the trap that a lot of coaches do when they play Nick Saban in a game that, maybe this is a game that's much bigger to them than it is Nick Saban. Do you know what I'm saying? Kleiman got into a position and out-coached his team out of that game by coaching it like he was, Austin Peay against Alabama this year, who lost by 50-something, but was going for it on 4th down, doing what they had to do because they know every punt's probably going to be turned into points for Alabama. Kleiman did that with the number 9 team in the country, who was the Big 12 champ and just beat a team that's playing for their national championship on Monday. But Kleiman coached his team like he was coaching Austin Peay. The 4th down he failed there at the 2 was the 4th down they were going for on that drive alone. Get some points right there, man. You've already converted 3 4th downs that drive alone. It was the longest drive either of the season or in school history that didn't end with any points. That's not a good record to set. And not only do they fail on 4th down, all right, hey, you gotta do it. You're playing Alabama. I get it, maybe, but Alabama
I get wanting to lead at halftime. I get that.
But then on the 2-yard line, Alabama has the ball. They run the ball. They're ready to take it to the locker room. Kansas State calls a timeout. Why? I know you want to get the ball back, but now there's like 50 seconds left. You just use a timeout. So Alabama gets the ball, runs it again, gets like a 15, 20-yard gain. Now we got momentum. Now you've given them a free timeout. Now we're probably going to get some points on the board. Alabama did. Kansas State comes out of the second half. Kleiman jumps into the trap again, tries an onside kick. Alabama turns it into a touchdown instantly. And in a matter of 2 drives, game's completely flipped on its head, and Kansas State never had a chance.
It was so bad. It was very, very bad. And then, people the rest of that day were saying Alabama should be in the playoff. You can't tell me they're not one of the 4 best. Say, how did Alabama not get in? And TCU got in. And then we played the playoff games.
Yeah.
And then TCU, they're up, 14-9, 21-9 at halftime. A lot of really great breaks went their way in the first half. A lot of great breaks. Michigan had a touchdown, should have been a touchdown that they ruled down at the 1-yard line. But then, you took a situation like that it should have been a touchdown, something you can't control. And then you went and did something that you can control, and then you fumbled the football and gave the ball right back to TCU and totally killed your momentum. Number 13 for TCU had probably the best coming out party I've ever seen for anybody. I mean, he was everywhere. I mean, I think he had one of the pick sixes. He had a bunch of tackles for loss. He was everywhere. And then you had that crazy shootout of the third quarter, which I think the over-under that game was like in the 50s. The third quarter alone, there were 44 points.
What happened in that third quarter? I was watching that game and
it was bananas.
It turned into a shootout out of nowhere, which is not Michigan football. Any shootouts that they got into this year. TCU only knows crazy games, and they brought it to Michigan in that second half. What a wild third quarter.
It was an insane game. I mean, you've got pick sixes going on in the game. You got guys fumbling at the 1-yard line. You got J.J. McCarthy's dad feeling up his girlfriend in the stands.
Well, yeah, and talk about losing a game, and then you get home and you see that on your phone. That's a rough day, buddy. What's happening to that family? Right?
That was a popular video that went around, right? And I totally understand that. I don't want to sit here and comment and try to stoke a situation that may not have been that. But if you go watch that video, there was some
no one. He left the finger. He left his hand lingering.
He didn't just leave the finger. He just did the little tippy tap.
That's the creep on the subway move. Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me, I'm just trying to get by. Let me put my hand out here and do something weird. What are you doing, dude? What are you
He
doing?
he touched, and then with the little, you know,
It doesn't help that his girlfriend was very pretty too, so they're showing her on camera. I
Oh.
was watching the game with some people. There were some women in the room too. They're going, "Why do they keep showing this lady?" You know, like who's she? You know, the territorial lioness came out of a few of them, and I'm like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm sure there's a good reason." And I guess there was a good reason. They were trying to bust his dad, man. And then this guy, oh my gosh, his mom had to have seen that before the end of the game.
Yeah, and then,
his mom got a text while standing there next to her dad moments after, like, "Hey, we saw this. This is like everywhere, by the way." So, if you're a player, put your family up in the nosebleeds. You know,
yeah,
don't let them get a good camera shot. Put them in a disguise, something.
Especially if you're gonna bring your girlfriend along with you. Like, see, with some
It's weird.
girlfriend family situations worked out well because, like, I don't know why this automatically popped in my head, but AJ McCarron and his girlfriend always with his mom, never dad. It was always mom. Like you saw the videos of them. I always think of the Sugar Bowl. Alabama and Oklahoma was the one I saw the most that year. But every time you see her, she's right there with AJ's mom. AJ's mom's not going to feel her up on the camera, so you know,
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Right? So you're good there.
You probably think that too with the dad, though. The dad had him a couple beverages. It's New Year's, you know, and he made a poor decision, dude. That was not good.
Pulled a little. Hey, where's that finger going? Where's he? Hey,
Hey,
back
I'm
here.
just
Get back here.
These are just my hands. They're just hanging out by my side. I can't find my drink. I lost my glasses. Come on, dude. Come on, Pops.
Oh,
Get your boy out there playing football.
That was rough.
Not a great look there.
No, bad
Great
look. Very bad look.
Did you see the poster in the crowd? There was a poster, I think it said "We Want Bama" at the Sugar Bowl, but it was made out of like each letter in "We Want Bama" was like cut out of a magazine and glued to a poster board, so it looked like a ransom note.
No,
you didn't see that one?
No, thank goodness.
Oh, that's the fan we should be talking about. I hope that person's in handcuffs because that was a terrifying thing. I've never been scared by a poster at a sporting event before. I saw that one. There's evidence on there of something.
A sporting event, if you're one of those people, going back to the J.J. McCarthy's girlfriend being good looking,
way to bring it back to the important part.
Well, it's an important thing because they did it again in another game. If you're one of those people who you're like, you know, women don't need to be downgraded to just being good looking or not good looking. They don't need to get far where they are because you think they're good looking. It's because they're good at their job. Don't watch a sporting event because the camera's going to find the women that are good looking. That's just what they do. The Tulane game. Did you see the Tulane USC game? People are in love with the sad Tulane girl. It's just a girl.
There's an Orange Bowl girl. There's a Fiesta Bowl girl. The World Cup had that Croatian lady. Did you hear about it?
Well, that's different because she was embracing it.
Did you watch any of the games of the World Cup? Every time they go to a fan, they know a fan.
100%. But Miss Croatia was like, if Croatia wins the World Cup, I'm gonna get naked. So
Brent Musburger got fired, so every cameraman in America could keep their job. When Brent Musburger got fired for being creepy on TV talking about AJ McCarron's girlfriend, they're like, we can't have that. Get out of here. Okay, where do you want me to point the camera? No, keep pointing the camera. Okay, we just don't need Brent over here. Let everybody know about it.
Tulane girl, right there.
Yeah, Tulane. I haven't seen Tulane girl yet.
38 seconds left. This girl's invested in the game. It's 3rd and 10. Tulane's down 6 points. They need 7. And she's just going through it. And now everybody's in love with her because a cameraman saw a pretty girl going through it at a sports. I mean, don't watch sporting events if you don't want to see good-looking chicks, I guess.
Don't be at a sporting event either if you're not ready to become a celebrity. just for watching a game.
Yeah. So
you might go to that game with one name, and you might leave Orange Bowl girl. That's a tough one.
I didn't know there was an Orange Bowl.
There's an Orange Bowl girl. Yeah.
Oh man, let's see. What's Orange Bowl girl look like? What'd she do? Is that Orange Bowl girl?
No.
No. Okay.
No, is it Fiesta Bowl girl then? Maybe that's what I'm talking about.
You know,
I'm getting all of my bowl games, crowd celebrities mixed up. You know how that could happen.
It's tough to tell. Oh, Fiesta Bowl girl will be JJ McCarthy.
Oh, that is Fiesta Bowl. What did Ohio State play? What did Ohio State Georgia playing? Cotton Bowl?
Peach Bowl, right?
It was Peach Bowl girl. Give that a Google. Is that Peach Bowl girl? Yep, there she is, Peach Bowl girl.
That's
To the left, yeah.
Oh my gosh! See, that's what we're doing. This is what we do.
Peach Bowl girl, yeah.
That's insane. Peach Bowl girl, Tulane girl.
Are we gonna have a college football playoff of bowl game girls? Like the two of them get to go to a championship game, and then who's gonna take it?
ESPN execs are probably listening right now.
Is Dr. Pepper going to give $10,000 to Peach Bowl girl if Georgia wins the Natty?
Actually, my name is Yahoo.
We don't. It doesn't.
So,
You're a brand now. Watch, you'll be able to go on Cameo and you pay $25 and Peach Bowl girl will send you a happy birthday video.
Tulane girl's going to get a bunch of requests on Cameo to not talk to you, but just to look at you with a sad face.
You remember that girl in the crowd at the Alabama LSU game like 10 years ago or whatever? That one girl in the crowd, Alabama just came back and she's looking at the camera and she's like, it's the sky cam, so it's just moving. And the whole time she's looking at. She was famous for like 4 years. The College Game Day did a piece about her.
I think I saw her on TikTok like last year.
Tom Rinaldi did a story about her. You know it's real when Tom Rinaldi's getting the call.
Tom Rinaldi made me cry over Peach Bowl girl. Nice.
She used to just be a girl before her love for sports. Now she's lost her identity. I'm Tom Rinaldi.
Excuse me, what?
Tom, this feels a lot more serious than it should be.
This got dark.
It's my bag. Let me go.
Okay.
She used to be just a girl. Nah, crazy stuff, man. Peach Bowl girl, Orange Bowl girl, Toyota Field girl coming to a Trash Pandas season near you, maybe.
But the games were really good, though, right? I mean, we had
great games.
Besides JJ McCarthy's girlfriend, that Michigan TCU game was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun back and forth. It's not that it was like the best textbook football or anything, but it was an incredibly exciting game, especially the third quarter. It was an amazing entertainment experience to watch. The following, and right after that, everyone's like, how does Georgia-Ohio State follow this up? Well, they did it with more just exciting football. It was actually good football players making good plays. But damn, that one was good too. It was 42-41 was the final.
I know. Going into those two games, I'm like, Alabama should have been in this playoff, man. And then those playoff games happen. I'm like, hey, well, you know what? Maybe next year we'll try it again. Because I'm like, I don't even know who you take. You couldn't have took out Michigan. And Ohio State, man, they went out there and gave Georgia their closest game since Alabama beat them last year.
We've had some good championship games in the playoff era. We've had a few Alabama Clemson games have been really good.
Yeah.
You've had Georgia Alabama was a good one last year, but it was really good in 2017, right? We had some good title games, but we don't often have good semifinal games. Mm-hmm. And if we do, it's usually one. The other one's really bad. This year, hands down, was the best collection of semifinal games.
Definitely.
By far. But where would you put them? Like, where would you rank a semifinals only, not championship games? How would you rank these that we had this weekend?
What are some of the other notable semifinal games? I can't really.
Oklahoma, Georgia in the Rose Bowl, 2017.
That was all right.
All right.
That's all right.
It was 54-48 in double overtime. That was an incredible game. Ohio State, Alabama.
It was a good game. Ohio State, Alabama. Yeah, that was a good one too. I don't know. I think the fact that both of these were back to back make them both better.
That's fair. I could understand how you would go with that for sure.
Like to set a bar that high and then to reach that bar, that's never achieved.
And then, of course, something that we've paid more attention to this year was Stetson Bennett, and we came around on him way earlier in the year. I especially was very hard on him in the offseason, thinking, the guy's going to game manage you to another playoff, and then maybe you put in a quarterback that's good, even though this guy just won you a championship. But instead, after the first couple of weeks of the season, we said, look, this guy's taking a really big step forward, right? This guy's actually making things happen on the field. Then there was a little bit of a lull, and Georgia just kept doing what Georgia does. It wasn't exciting or anything. Then you get to the Ohio State game. They had to score, 18 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win that game. And that final drive, Stetson Bennett gets the ball back. And for the first time in my entire life, I told myself before that drive started, I said, I looked at nobody that was in the room. My wife had already gone to bed. I'm like, Stetson time.
I thought the same thing, dude. I'm like, there's no way Georgia doesn't win this.
Stetson's about to score this touchdown.
I know it.
And he had that was, and this is crazy to say from the guy who just won a championship last year. Stetson Bennett had his moment. That was his moment in that game. That was Stetson Bennett's moment. That wasn't, like last year Georgia's team was just so good everywhere. that was Stetson Bennett's moment to go on that drive and make some of the plays that he made. Really happy for him, dude, because that was cool to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
It was good for him. I'm not additionally happy for him because he plays at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta tip your cap to that man. 2 years ago, we're looking at him like a bum. He wins a natty. Fresh off a natty, we're still looking at him like he's a bum.
Yep.
And now he's got a chance to be two-timer. Not many guys in that club.
Good for him, man.
Good for him, man.
But he's about to win the second one. As much as I
who's had a better year, Stetson Bennett or Peach Bowl Girl?
Ooh. Who do you think's gained more followers on TikTok in the last, week?
It's a toss-up.
Are we talking to count like 2023? It was Peach Bowl Girl.
It's Peach Bowl Girl. Yeah, dude, for the first 4 days, Peach Bowl Girl. No doubt. You asked me on Monday, it might be different.
Hey, did you see this?
Oh, I saw that. Let's go ahead and get into that. That's some news that just dropped right before the show.
Texas A&M's doing some interesting stuff in college football. They've had 27 kids transfer so far, hit the transfer portal.
27.
It's a lot.
Full offense and defense plus special teamers.
It's a lot of guys. And then on top of that, we've been Jimbo Fisher's supposed to be that offensive guy at A&M, and it really just hasn't translated. And they had to mix some stuff up. Well, they just went and got a new offensive coordinator, a guy who I thought had left his current post to go be the offensive coordinator at another place, has just taken the offensive coordinator position at Texas A&M.
Jimbo said this program had a rough year. We took a few shots to the mouth. We had a rough one. We had the number one recruiting class, and we didn't even make a bowl. I need something to legitimize this program. I need something to get us back on top. I will take away my own play calling duties. All right? Offense look bad? I'll put it on me. And I'm going to bring in someone to call the plays. It's going to restore dignity to this school. Hey, someone get that coach who wore the neck brace at that press conference after he flipped his motorcycle with his student assistant. I need someone to call my plays. And Jimbo hired Bobby friggin' Petrino today to be his offensive coordinator, which, from a football standpoint, is a great hire. I love that if I'm a Texas A&M football fan. The optics are different.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody because if you're A&M, you truly believe that he's going to be good for you.
You got it,
right? And if you're anybody else on the planet that loves to hate on Texas A&M, which is anybody else on the planet, then you're going to make fun of them from now until football season, which is a good 8 months away. So,
yeah. Bobby's back in the SEC, he's bringing his neck brace with him. Don't be riding no bulls out there, Bobby. Bobby's gonna have his assistant and him. They're gonna try to recreate season 1 of Yellowstone out there. They're gonna ride horses. Oh, Bobby,
he's back. He's back.
So Bobby is the OC over there in Texas A&M. Is Billy still the OC in Tuscaloosa? Because I ain't seen no news yet. I'm kind of.
I assumed he was going back to the NFL.
On me to get that down.
I assumed he was going back to the NFL.
Seems like New England's pretty much a lock.
It needs to be, dude.
It needs to be for both sides.
Move the defensive guy back to defense, Matt Patricia, and then bring the offensive guy that was your offensive guy for a while, bring him back.
Bill O'Brien's not a college coordinator, and Matt Patricia and Joe Judge are not offensive coordinators. Robert Kraft came out and said, he's like, there will be changes with my coaches this year. Or after this year. We can't have it anymore.
Speaking of changes, last year, similar to what we had this year. Michigan beats Ohio State, wins the Big Ten, gets into the playoff, gets beat in the semifinal, right? Same conversation we had last year at the end of the year we are having now again, and that is Jim Harbaugh is getting interest from the NFL. Now, you stood your ground last year. I said, look, Jim's gone. They disrespected him. They took money away from him because he wasn't getting the job done in Michigan. They reworked his contract, so he made less money. He went out and made a playoff. Now he's going to go to the NFL. He's going to go back. He's going to go to the NFL, right? And you said, no way he's doing that. He's staying in college. He's leveraging it for more money. He's going to get his money back. He's going to coach Michigan again. And that's exactly what happened in 2021 going into 2022. He was their coach this year, and then they did it again. They beat Ohio State. They won the Big Ten, and then they lost in the college football playoff semifinal. And now he is once again getting looks in the NFL. I've seen the Panthers. Apparently, Greg McElroy said this morning, he said that last year at the national championship game, he was told that Jim was a lock for the Raiders job. And that didn't work out. So some things were a little different. But I believe he's having conversations with the NFL. And you don't want to know a reason I'm actually going to say what I said last year?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to double down and say I think he's going to the NFL because home's calling now, right? I mean, why wouldn't you give Indianapolis one? Why wouldn't you do that? The guy you wanted, the reason why he was considered to go to the Raiders last year is because he liked Derek Carr. Derek Carr's probably going to be looking for a new job this year. Indy can do what they've done the last 3 or 4 years and go get another veteran quarterback that no one else wants. Go get him. Get Jim Harbaugh back to where he used to play in the NFL. It's a win-win.
Is Indianapolis really home to Jim Harbaugh?
How long did he play there?
I mean, he played there for a little bit. But it's not like Jim Harbaugh. Like, ooh, Colts legend, Jim Harbaugh.
It's a good end, though. I'm sure he's got good relationships.
You know, last year I was the only person saying, probably the only person on the planet.
You nailed it.
I mean, everybody was so. He's going to the Vikings. He's going to the Raiders. He's going to the NFL. Guaranteed. He's going to the NFL. And this year, I think different. I think he is actually going to go to the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Where do you think he's going? You think he's going to Indy?
I don't know. I don't think he wants to be a college football coach anymore. I think he wanted to get one more win over Michigan. I think he wanted to get his money back. He wanted to. I don't think he wants to leave Michigan like he would have left a year ago, which would have been like failure.
Yeah.
You know?
We did it once, I'm gone.
Yeah. And plus, even before that, was like the years of you can't beat Ohio State, you can't make it to the playoff. Then you finally do it after 6 years, but you lose in the playoff. I think he wanted to get that money back. He wanted to prove it to him. He wanted to, you say I can't do it, I'll show you that I can do it. And now that he's got his money for a year, he did that. I think he's ready to go to the pros. I don't think the man wants to be a college football coach.
I agree.
He's a better suited pro football coach.
Completely agree.
And with the amount of work you have to put in to be a college football coach, Harbaugh, who's already had more success, I think, in the NFL than he has in college, at least at Michigan.
No question.
I mean, he was pretty good at Stanford. He had some good San Diego State, if you count all that. He had some good stops. But his run with the Niners when they went to a Super Bowl, probably more successful than one you have here at Michigan. Like you're saying, he could go back to a place where he played like Michigan. He could go to the Indianapolis Colts. There's that kind of familial thing there with Harbaugh. I think he does. And if he gets more money, I think he might be ready to take it and go. And he's leaving Michigan with 2 straight playoff appearances. Totally different situation than what he was looking at before.
You know why I'm ready for him to go back to the NFL? Because I'm ready to like Jim Harbaugh again. I loved Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. I loved him even more in the NFL. I pulled so hard for those San Francisco teams when he was their coach. But then he got back to Michigan. And I was so happy he's going to fix Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And then he didn't for the first several years. And people still kept it's not his fault, but the media kept putting him as one of the best coaches in college football.
So that's why you hate him. Other people said he was good.
Yes, it totally turned me on Jim Harbaugh. Like it made me
I get that.
Stop it. Like he's not as good as you're making it seem. And then he started to turn it around, finally beat Ohio State twice, went to the playoff twice. Like good. Jim Harbaugh's getting back to being able for me to like him again, which I'm sure he cares a lot about. And then now he might go back to the NFL. I loved him in the NFL. I think it's a good fit for him.
I agree. He's better off getting his set of guys, running his offense, building a roster his way, and not having to redo it all the time. It's just, I don't know. And with the transfer portal and all that, it doesn't seem Jim Harbaugh be into that kind of stuff. Yeah. Real old school. And weird as hell.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you really
definitely.
just don't. Like, I could just see him bolting and be like, yeah, no, I'll take the job.
All right, Jim, I'm going to give you some advice, by the way, and I can call him Jim. I met him a few years ago when I was working at Texas Roadhouse. He was on a recruiting visit there. I've sent you the picture.
Cool. Well, you called him Jimbo 2 minutes ago. Sure.
Yeah. So we were hanging out, and I got a picture with him, and I said,
look up this picture.
I sent it to you.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
I talked to him. I said, Jimmy, and he said, please call me Jim. I said, James, listen, all right, one thing you need to do. That's definitely not me.
That was not the photo I was looking for.
That's not me at all.
Sorry.
I was like, what he needs to do now. Jim, I give you some advice. Stay away from Denver. Don't do it. Just don't go to Denver. Go to Indianapolis.
Shh.
Go.
Jim. It's time to go to Denver.
Go to Carolina. Stay away from Denver.
It's time, dude. It's
Don't.
time. They can't go any lower. Jim's perfect for Denver.
They've already got Russell. They've got their fill of weird there, right? That Jim would be a little overkill for that. He'd probably feed into it. Russ would be even weirder. Start wearing khakis.
Russ and Jim Harbaugh might be the perfect strangers.
Oh my god! And then you're gonna have two people doing khakis on the plane.
They're both
because Jim would join.
Yeah, maybe that's too much.
It's too much.
Maybe that's too much. You're right. Where do you put Jim to the Colts?
Mm-hmm. I think
that feels like a fit.
It feels so good.
Indianapolis. Got a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They got a running back.
They got a running back. They got a good receiver. They got a number one receiver, Michael Pittman Jr.
Pittman's good.
You've got pieces on defense, right? And Darius Leonard.
Harbaugh's just, I don't know who he would get at quarterback.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr?
I think so. I think that would be the move. Derek Carr.
I think Carr and Harbaugh would work together.
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh's a strange bird. Carr just kind of goes with it. Like when Derek Carr and John Gruden were together, it always seemed like John Gruden hated Derek Carr. And then those two personalities just did not mesh. Carr and Harbaugh, I could see that.
You know, quarterback?
Carbaugh. They could have a cool combo name. Carbaugh's coming to Indy. Buy your season tickets now.
You know, a personality that I think could put up with Jim Harbaugh and like would like it. He's not like that. He doesn't have the same personality, but he would like that personality.
Ooh.
And it would kind of fit the Colts quarterback mold of the last couple of years, which is a guy that may or may not, probably not going to work out, but you're going to give him a shot for a year.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
I think Bake stays in LA, man.
If I'm Baker Mayfield in the offseason, I would take a long, hard look at it and say, look, I know I want to start, but let's play the long game here. Like, even if Matt Stafford, like they said he's going to, even if he does come back next year, I'm in a great spot with Sean McVay. He seems to like me, and this is a good system for me. Let me stay here and try to earn my spot here and kind of get in with everybody, become the starter. Let me not go to my fourth team in 3 years or 2 years.
Yeah.
And
guys already had like 6 head coaches.
Exactly. Stay there. I'm with you. I want him to do that. I don't think he will. I would love for him to do that. But if he's going to go somewhere like as a free agent and try to get a starting job, maybe Jim Harbaugh and the Colts would be.
I feel like if you're Carbaugh is taking over Indy, so there's no need to speculate on that one. But if you're
sounds like a drink, like an Irish car bomb, but an Indianapolis car bomb.
Oh, come on, get your Irish car bombs over here. There's going to be a lot of bars around Lucas Oil serving car bombs.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Who are we talking about again?
Baker Mayfield.
Right. So I think if you're LA too, and you've already got money to big name guys, you have no draft picks. The fact that a former first round pick who's only in fourth or fifth year in the league fell into your lap. You don't have to pay him much because he's already been kicked to the curb by enough teams to where he doesn't demand big money anymore. You got to stay with that, man. And McVay can make things work for guys. He's been good with backups whenever, the starter there gets hurt. He brought Jared Goff to a Super Bowl. Stafford wins at one for him. I think McVay and Bake could be a great relationship, not only just between those two, but financially for the Rams. Can keep you in contention a little longer before, all of this trade stock that you fleeced comes back to bite you.
Now, this probably won't happen, but you piqued my curiosity here. Let's say Baker does, next year or the year after, he immediately follows Matt Stafford as a starting quarterback. And Sean McVay, maybe they don't win it, but he takes them to another Super Bowl. Has there ever been another coach in NFL history that would have then taken 3 consecutive number 1 overall quarterback picks to a Super Bowl? Because Jared Goff was number 1 overall. Matt Stafford was number 1 overall. And they both already been to a Super Bowl under Sean McVay. So
there's no chance.
There's no way. I
mean, Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, but I doubt they were all number 1 picks. Doug Williams, Joe Theismann, Mark Rippon. That would be something that I feel like would be a hard one to top.
That'd be pretty interesting. So, it's weird, but a lot of Alabama players, I'm going to go back to college real quick. A lot of Alabama players this weekend have caught a lot of strays. now that you're going to see some of them go to the NFL, like a Bryce Young. Alabama fans feel like he's gone. They understand that he's going to go be a high pick in the draft. So they're expressing how they feel about Bryce Young on Twitter. And it's caused other Alabama fans to call them nuts. Several Alabama fans are saying that Bryce Young is the best Alabama quarterback of all time. Other Alabama fans are saying they're smoking crack, and that's not true. Where would you, as an Alabama fan, is Bryce Young the greatest quarterback in Alabama history?
I think he is. I think when you compile the numbers, leadership, the amount of turnovers, the success, which, I mean, compared to quarterbacks have been there recently, probably the worst because he didn't win a championship. And I think every quarterback outside of like Blake Sims that came before him did that
As a starter.
in the Saban era.
Well, I wouldn't say as a starter, but they like played
No,
a major
I
role
got
in
you.
one. Because
Yeah.
Tua never won was as a starter, but he did
Right.
win them that one.
And he was the guy that made it happen. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you credit that one to Tua, no doubt. I think it's got to be Bryce Young. I mean, his ability to create plays. I mean, if you watch this Alabama team and it didn't have Bryce Young, how many wins do you think they have? I think it's significantly lower. I mean, Bryce Young, look at the game when Jalen Milroe played against Texas A&M. Texas A&M, a bad team, was one play away from beating Alabama at home. And that was a game that they should have won 24-0. But our backup quarterback fumbles or throws a pick 3 different times in opponent territory. That's going to give the other team easy points. That Alabama team without Bryce Young would be significantly worse. If you go and you look at Tua, you take him out, backups of Mac Jones. He's got 4 first-round receivers he's throwing to. He's got 2 top-notch running backs behind him. Got a great, those guys had a lot more around him. Bryce Young didn't have as much around him. I don't think he had as good as coaches, running backs, receivers, and still put up almost, if not the same amount of production. I think he finished like 6 touchdowns behind Tua for the all-time Alabama touchdown passes leaderboard.
So I don't think there's any question where, like what you were saying, if you took Bryce Young and put him on that 20 as the starter on that 2020 team, like Bryce Young now starting over Mac Jones in 2020, that team wins a championship. If you put him on the same team that Tua came from behind in 2017, 2018, won the championship, they're winning a championship the same way. I agree with that. Now, flip it around. Take Mac Jones and put him on this Alabama team this year.
I think
they lose more than 2 games?
Yeah, I think his lack of mobility kills him.
Take 2 and put him on that team if they lose more than 2 games.
Yeah, especially with his lack of mobility and the way he gets injured. I mean, the guy's been injury prone from the time he started at Alabama through last week, Mac Jones, I think those guys were such beneficiaries of having Steve Sarkisian as offensive coordinator. I mean, he was the best in the country the time he was in Alabama. Before that was Lane Kiffin. What?
The way Steve's acting, he might end up.
Bro, we can talk about that in a little bit because he looked like a complete jerk. But on the field, just like with our Petrino talk earlier, on the field, guy was the best. I mean, they still haven't recovered from the loss of Sarkisian. Bryce Young with his Bill O'Brien offense and all the crap and the injuries and his offensive line not holding up last year, I think to still put up the amount of wins. And if you look at the turnover numbers, I mean, Tua threw a lot of turnovers. When it was him and Jalen Hurts for a while, the thing that Jalen Hurts always had over Tua was he protected the ball. Bryce Young was much better at protecting the ball than Tua was. And I don't think that gets enough talk.
Another one that people were throwing out there because he won 2 championships. I saw a guy, he said, you think Bryce Young is better than Tua, Jake Coker, and A.J. McCarron? You're crazy.
What?
You put A.J. McCarron on this team, they don't come close to sniffing a championship. A.J. McCarron was good. He was. I liked A.J. a ton. I think he was the first step away from the game manager type quarterback. He was game manager plus, right? He could do a little more than that.
Yeah.
But he's not mobile enough to get away. His receivers aren't getting separation. He's going to get clobbered because the offensive line couldn't hold up this year.
I was going to say, AJ had the best O-line in football his whole career.
Absolutely. So Bryce Young, I think all things considered, on the outside looking in, I think he's got to be up there.
And to play in the transfer portal era as well. I mean, his receivers last year, he's got Mechie, Jamison Williams, and who's the third guy? Slade Bolden. Then you go to this year, it's Jermaine Burton, who played at Georgia the previous year. You've got guys like Tyler Harrell from Louisville, who never even steps on the field, but you got to practice with him every day. You're preparing to play with him. No, that's not going to be the case there. Okay, we're going to try JoJo Earl. He gets hurt. Okay. Trayshawn Holden, you got, okay, we're going to bring back the new guy. Latu's there. Billingsley's gone. So, okay, Robinson's now gone. Gibbs comes in from Georgia Tech. Let's figure out how he plays. So a lot of adjustments these guys had to make. Tua played with the same receivers this whole time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you got to put Bryce. If you want to put Tua at 1, I can understand it. If you want to dock Bryce for not winning a championship as a starter or playing a major role in winning a championship, fine, but you can't dock him more than 2, in my opinion. I think he's got to be up there.
And who loves Tua more than me? I mean, I'm over here been yapping about him winning MVP for 2 straight years. The only thing he's racked up are concussions and criticism. So you know, I don't want to say it, but it's true. Bryce Young's better.
That's one Alabama quarterback, one Alabama player that's been catching strays because people were admiring him. Other people were trying to tell him pump the brakes. Another Alabama player catching a stray. It had nothing to do with Alabama football at all. But during the Ohio State Georgia game at the end of the game is 42-41. Everyone's saying, wow, C.J. Stroud had an incredible game, which he did. I know that famously we've both said, me specifically.
Me and you both.
Think he's going to be a bust in the NFL. Had an amazing game.
We look like dopes. Against
Georgia. But Ohio State has a chance to win the champion, or a chance to win the Peach Bowl and go to the championship. It's 42-41. It's going to be like a 50-yard field goal. They've got an opportunity. And the field goal kicker absolutely shanks. Never has a shot. Shanks it way left.
A full field goal to the left.
Nowhere close, right? So who of all people ends up catching a stray for the Ohio State kicker? What was his name? Like
I don't know.
Like Knuckles or something. It was like Nibbles.
You only remember the ones that make them.
It was weird.
Which is why I forgot about the guy you're about to talk about.
Yeah,
I forgot he existed.
You legitimately, you said who? What? Of all people, and again, it was an Alabama fan calling him out. They said that kick reminded me of Andy Pappanastos.
When you first said that, I'm like, is he on the Greek place? Who are you talking about?
Former Alabama kicker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Famously, like, his lifelong dream was to specifically kick the game-winning field goal in a championship game for Alabama. Had the opportunity, missed it terribly.
Golly.
And then
be so brutal.
People, very, very popular Alabama fan on Twitter compared that Ohio State missed field goal to Andy Pappanastos. That looked very Andy Pappanastos-like.
In the Georgia-Alabama game where Tua won it in overtime. They had a chance to win it in regular time, right? But that field goal.
He missed it. It looked like that reminded me of Andy Pappanastos. And Andy replied, and as nice as a very nice guy, it seems like, replied. He was like, hey, man, nobody wishes they could have missed that field goal or made that field goal more than me. Happy New Year.
How'd you start your New Year off? I got made fun of for something I did 5 years ago. And I didn't even do anything. I was just sitting down.
Why did you get made fun of? Because somebody that plays for somebody completely unaffiliated where I play missed a field goal.
It's tough.
Yeah. He didn't deserve that. He caught a right on New Year's Eve, dude.
It's the opposite of what Dan Orlovsky felt when Jimmy G ran out of the end zone for that save.
He felt bliss.
Yeah. It's like, I'm free. Andy's like, no, not again.
No,
don't do it. No. Well, at least he's done, though. He's lost. Like, now this Knuckles guy will be the new Pappanastos.
What is his name?
So it's over now.
His name.
Chicken Nuggets?
It was something weird.
Which is probably a nickname they give you if you miss a game-winning field goal.
It was one of those where, again, my wife was asleep, but I was, like, trying to lean over to her and be like, a guy with
Noah Ruggles.
Ruggles. I was like, a guy the name of Ruggles isn't going to make this field goal. And then she wasn't going to reach.
Do you believe that? Like, do you see a person's name and you go, I don't trust that name?
100%.
100%. I'm the same way.
This was one of them.
Yeah.
100%. He's not making this field goal. Why? But did you see his name?
I think a huge part of being elected, like president, is you got to have a name that people that sounds right, like president. What if there's too many syllables or it's too hard? People won't vote for it.
You can't be a hero with a name like Ruggles. Sorry, that's the universe just hurting you, and that's not your fault. You didn't do that,
right?
It's your family name.
The theory I've had with Haynes King for years. It's real.
Another one. When you used to call into my radio show on the weekends as other people and did not tell me about it until you then joined the radio show.
Yep.
You used to call in and make fun of Nick Starkle.
Nick Starkle. I saw him. Who? Nick Starkle. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Starkle.
So
Starkle sounds like a plaque that would grow in the back of of an incisor. I got a little Starkle I got to take care of back there.
So it's a procedure.
Yeah. I'm having Starkle removal. Like I need someone to pick me up from the dentist's office. Yeah, you can't. That guy's not going to win a game for you.
Where's Ricky at? No, he had Starkle surgery. He's going to be out for a week.
Oh gosh, that one hurts. It's tough. I had my Starkles removed when I was in high school.
So Papanasso's caught a stray for no reason. Bryce Young catching strays because people like him, which is
the
ridiculous.
guy holding back the team and the coach for the Texas game, the Alamo Bowl. He caught a couple strays and old Sark. What was he, bro? As a guy who works in sports, I could not stand what Sark did, dude, because I'm looking at that guy with the headset on the field, just waiting for the right time to send him out there. And I've been on the field of these Trash Panda games where if you're 2 seconds off with the anthem singer, someone's on the radio going, shut up, let's go, where is it? And he's just trying to do his job. And guy in the headset's go, all right, hold him. We got 10 more seconds. And coach is getting a little, and he just gave him one of these. And coach, hold on 1 second. And Sark tore into him like he punched his daughter. He slapped his wife. He called his mom a dirty name, and it was like,
and you can see it process in his head too, because the guy's not even looking at him. He's just like, hey, hey, hold on. And then Sark goes,
it went 1 second too long, and he said,
"Touch me, mother."
Full scorched earth.
Did you see the immediate comparison that they did? The video of him getting held, and then the video of Jimbo, or I keep calling him Jimbo, Jim Harbaugh.
Was it when he shook hands with that one guy, Schwartz?
No, it was the same thing. The run out for the game. The guy coordinated.
Harbaugh did that too.
He didn't yell at him. That's why they're comparing it. The dude was holding it back, and Jim looked at him and he goes, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah, it's like dude's doing his job, Sark. Which I guess when you're in the zone like that, you can lose your emotions, but you're the coach, bro. You're not even taking any hits. Why you got to kill this guy with the headset? Just because he's,
Yeah, dude, that guy didn't do anything.
Like, dude, I'm a volunteer. My family lives my in-laws live here. That's why I'm volunteering. They have a connection. I don't even.
Watch Jim.
Don't.
Watch Jim.
It's hardball video. Okay.
I don't know if it's. Yeah, here he goes.
And he just slow it down, coach. He goes, okay, cool.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, well, I saw the Sark video today. I ain't doing that. He saw the Sark video by then.
Yeah, probably.
I was afterwards. You think, you ain't getting me. I'm trying to get a job at the Colts.
I'm out of here.
Dude, Sark looked like such a jerk.
Oh, it was bad, right?
Like, dude,
makes no sense. He's like, yeah, okay,
That's how you yell at a guy before you punch him in the face. Like, before you get into full-out combat.
What drives me crazy is it wasn't immediate. Like, the guy touches him,
I
and
know,
Sark
right?
just goes, "Don't touch me."
I know. It's like, did he grip? He didn't even grip.
No, he's not a cop in the field.
And then the only time he gets real deep into him was when Sark gets up in his chest.
When he's trying to fend it off for his life. Yeah. Steve Sarkisian is a psychopath. And he will be out there as offensive coordinator for the next 3 years.
On the field, the guy's a magician. Is the Tua honeymoon over with Ricky? Has he really moved on? The end of an era? I'm seeing that in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
No, the Tua honeymoon's not over.
No.
And I'm going to be honest with you. If he would, dude, he probably shouldn't play the rest of the year with concussions.
No.
He probably should. But
especially after what happened, even though it wasn't a concussion.
That's the toughest part about Tua is like you knew he was injury prone going into the NFL. And concussions are the thing that's taking him down. Like, that's not like an injury-prone thing. Like, if your head hits the ground hard enough, you're going to get a concussion. Some people are flexible enough to avoid injuries elsewhere. That's not even the issue Tua's having. His head's just hitting the ground too hard. So that's what's kind of – but it's definitely not over. I mean, I think an amazing year from the guy. I think he's only going to get better.
And that's a surprise for me, too. And I've said a million times, I had this conversation with Ethan, who's commenting on the YouTube now. I said that the only reason I think that Tua will not be a perennial Pro Bowler in the NFL is injuries. And I didn't expect concussions to be the injury that would happen.
I guess the New Year's like evened me out or something. You know, it's like a day of extreme honesty from Ricky. I'm like, yeah, what? What's happened?
Wait, do you normally lie?
I don't think so. But I mean, I guess I could go a little overboard on the Tua thing. But when compared to Bryce Young, Bryce might be my new Tua.
I think he is. I'd asked you before.
I love him.
that question. So I'm trying to find.
And I think he translates better to the pros. Like if you think his size is an issue, you're just. I think you're dope. I mean, I really just.
Send it to you. I know
I think Bryce Young's biggest issue is he still tries to make plays sometimes when he shouldn't. That's how he got his shoulder injured. You know, he's getting sacked. He tries to throw it away horizontal while diving, and you're putting your throwing arm, like you're putting it up here, and then you're landing on it, like you're asking to get hurt. I think once but you can fix that. I mean, that's just decision making stuff.
So going back to Jimbo Fisher, golly, oh my God, I'm going to do that the rest of the show, and I'm not even trying to talk about Jimbo Fisher. Going back to Jim Harbaugh. Going back to Jim Harbaugh and the whole comparison between him and Sarkisian. But going back to Jim Harbaugh, we talked about dad jokes and what some dad jokes that are going too far, some that need to be reeled back and retired. There's a right way and a wrong way to do a dad joke. And Jim Harbaugh, I mean, he's perfect at it. He's got it. He knows how to do it.
You got your khakis on today in tribute.
I do. That's right. So according to this guy on Twitter, he says TCU coach Sonny Dykes jokingly invited Jim Harbaugh out for a strong drink tonight. This was the day before the game at 1 a.m. Bourbon the night before the college football playoff. Harbaugh declined. He said, "Past my bedtime." That's a perfect dad thing to say. Perfect dad thing. Past my bedtime.
One dad appreciating another dad's ability to get out of things due to being a dad.
Past my bedtime. Sorry.
There's a Columbo marathon on. I can't.
Perfect way to do things. Bad way to do things. Keep recycling jokes. We talked last week. The whole, it's 363 days till Christmas and you got your lights. Needs to be retired. Another one that goes hand in hand with that a week later. My dad did this to me. I'm leaving Nashville to come back home, and it's New Year's Eve. And you know what he tells me? See you next year. Dad, I appreciate it. It's time to stop, man. Retire that one. Leave it. Stop.
Somebody said that in the office the other day, and it was returned with just get away from me, please. It turns you into Sark. Someone drops that joke, and next thing you know, you're cussing them up and down.
Oh, yeah.
And you lose track of time. And you're like, what happened in the last 20? I blacked out. And you're like, dude, you messed up.
That one's got to go, man. Get rid of it.
That's fair.
Hey, it's New Year's Eve. See you next year.
Hang the banner in the rafters. See you next year, right before the next year.
It was good.
You had a good run.
It had its time. It hasn't always been a bad joke.
Had a great run.
It hasn't always been bad. It's great. It's not retired forever. It's going to be fun to drop it on my kid one day. Oliver will get it one time, once or twice. It'll be good. He's never heard it before, right? But after you've heard it once, you've heard it. You're good.
Dude, it's going to hit. I watched the movie Memento the other night. You ever seen that?
That's on my list. I love
great movie. But if you haven't seen it, the guy has short-term memory loss or whatever, so he's got to write down everything so he can remember it. And one of the lines in the movie is I love hanging out with this guy because I can just keep using the same jokes. I was like, man,
yeah,
that'd be kind of cool to have. One guy you just keep using the same joke every day, and every day that guy's gonna be like, you get that's okay. Can I use that one? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm just gonna throw it at you again in 20 minutes. I would have so much fun with it, which is not a funny thing. That's not something to laugh about.
No, but it would be awesome.
But it would be cool, especially if you were a dad. If you're a dad, get a guy like me with short-term memory issues. You get your 4 jokes holstered, you're good for a lifetime. Yeah. Check that movie out, though. It's good.
Oh, well, I like it's Christopher Nolan, right? I like Christopher Nolan movies. So
I don't want to give any spoilers 23 years after it was released.
I've been wanting to see it for a while. So it had been on Netflix for a minute.
He did it.
Huh?
What? Nothing. So, it's all right. You'll forget it.
That's all right. You got any? Do you have any? As a guy who I would imagine wants to be a father one day, do you have dad jokes ready to go? Do you know any that you like that you're going to pull out one day?
I just think all stupid jokes are going to turn into dad jokes eventually. I think I'm going to dadify all of them. Yeah. I have been noticing that, now that I'm getting married, I see my fiance a lot more than I used to. And I'm using the same stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to really refresh it. I'm going to have to go. I've got to go write new material for my own personal life.
Catch yourself then. And you're already starting to do that now. That's good. Because I know I fall into that routine.
Yeah.
But you know who you don't want to become?
Mm.
You don't want to become the see you next year guy. Because you know what that turns into?
Mm.
It turns into the guy at the grocery store when something doesn't scan. Must be free. Turns into that guy.
Oh no.
Turns into pulls out a crisp 100 or 20 or whatever. Cashier goes to check it. Just printed it this morning. Turns into that guy. You don't want to be that guy.
Dude, I've said that before.
Oh, no, don't do.
Oof.
Don't do.
I got to take a look in the mirror.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a new year. It's going to be a new, less father-like self for me.
Ethan says, my son said it would be cool if I had my own Legos like he does. I told him I have my own Legos. He asked where they were. I said his room. He gave me 5 blank stares. He's 5. I loved it.
Is he stealing that kid's Legos?
Yeah, I think that's the joke. His Legos are my Legos because he bought them.
Oh, man. We got to chill out, man.
Where'd
We got to figure it out.
the general keep his armies?
Don't do it.
Up his sleeves.
Oh, God. I hate where this show went.
Went into a dark hole.
I feel like Bobby Petrino at that press conference with the neck. Everyone's looking at me, and I'm not happy about it. I know. I'm like Bobby Petrino, man. I know I've made mistakes, but I just time is the only thing that will heal this.
Yeah. So
I just think I'm gonna maybe become kind of like a dark, sullen, kind of like real emotional.
you
type.
don't have that. You're not anywhere close.
Hey, babe, how you doing? I don't know. How are we doing? Just reply to stuff like that.
No, you already did dad stuff when you were young. You've got eccentric dad in you for sure. You used to wrap your own dad's shoes and give them to him as a Christmas present. That's a very dad thing to do, to wrap your own. My dad did that to me one time. I ordered myself a shirt with my own money, and it came. My birthday's around Christmas time.
Yeah.
So I ordered myself a shirt, and it came in, and I was going to UNA, but I had his address at the time, so it got there, and I hadn't seen that it had been delivered. He got it, put it in my Christmas stocking. It was one of my Christmas presents. So
When I did it wasn't a dad move, though. I wrapped my dad's shoes and gave it to him as a present because earlier that year he stole my hat and he would not give it back. And so he opened up his present. He goes, "These are my shoes." I go, "Yeah, it's my hat. Merry Christmas." We say we do a little tradesies. We'll both get a present.
Oh, cool. Something we both already own.
Yeah, that'd be
Thank
great.
you so
I'd love to
much.
have custody of that. Christmas used to be like, what of my old things will I might get custody of again? There's my headphones. Whoa, I haven't seen those in years.
Oh, are you gonna start doing that? Are you gonna be the dad that steals stuff from his kids?
I feel like that's tradition.
Yeah.
Candy, just any little
Oh,
stuff
dude,
you can
another
steal.
another dad bi-monthly.
Oh, I forgot about our every other month bi-monthly publication dads.
Yeah, I got another entry
Yeah, what's
around
up?
October. The dad tax. How much is too much?
And the picture of someone looking into a candy bowl going, ooh, maybe too much. Should I go for a Kit Kat? I think I'm gonna do it.
By the way, I'm glad that I remember this. The dads bi-monthly.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me, and I confidently answered this too. You asked me last week, you said, bi-monthly, is that twice a month or every other month? I said, it's twice a month. I was right, but I was wrong. But I was right, though, but I was also wrong.
That whole thing was so weird. We were talking about it on the show, our every other month bi-monthly publication dads. And we were having the discussion because midway through talking about this thing, I'm like, wait, is bi-monthly mean twice a month? Or does it mean every other month? I don't know. And I'm just scrolling through Twitter. Another sign that these boxes we have in our pocket are listening to everything we say. Because I'm on Twitter and, I think I'll just go out on a limb and say, it's not very often I see tweets about the word bi-monthly, if ever. And I go up there and this dude has a tweet with the definition of bi-monthly in a dictionary where the first definition is every other month. And the second definition is twice a month. I'm like, first off, random. 2, what are the odds? 3, why does it mean both things?
Who's right? What does it mean?
I said a bi-monthly publication during the show, and I thought that was that sounds so dumb. What does that even mean? And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it means exactly what it should mean because we didn't create a second word for that, for either one of those.
Can we get together collectively and get a handle on bi-monthly, please? Because,
dude, after the show, I sat at my desk and I was like, should I have said semi-annual? No. But that'd been biannual. I'm like, no, that's every other year. And it played with my head all day. And then random guy on Twitter goes, "Oh, here you go." Subject that I had no idea what was going on.
I've got
this out there.
I've got the definition pulled up, and to do you one better, it's not one definition then another definition. It's in the same one. It says done, produced, or occurring twice a month or every 2 weeks. Or every 2 months, excuse me. It's in the same definition. It's not part one, part two. It's, hey, it means, it could mean this or this. No, it's this. It's twice a week, or it's twice a month and every other month. Excuse me?
Well, I know what I'll be writing my state senator about tonight.
How do you clarify though when you say bi-monthly? When you tell somebody something,
You have to just do it like us. It'd be like every other month bi-monthly publication. And people aren't going to buy it. They're going to go, you know what? They don't even have a word. They have to say every other month followed by bi-monthly. These guys are chumps.
And speaking of the every other month bi-monthly publication of dads, it's a newsletter that we're working on. It's in the very ground stages. It's going to be for dads, right? It's going to be, hey, dad, reminder of this. Just a shout out, a little memo to dads is all it's going to be. Like we just mentioned with the October one. Dad tax. How much is too much? What are we taxing our kids? If you guys want to be included in the groundworks of every other month bi-monthly publication of dads, the newsletter, get on the text window, 256-434-1366. Send us your email address.
January 2023, new year, new me. Is it time to give up? And then there's this guy looking at his body going, I tried. Hands up. This thing's a mystery to me now. I don't know how to contain it.
When we get closer to the NBA playoffs and Kevin Durant becomes a more popular topic, I'm just going to put a picture of his head up there and say, when's it time to let go?
Have you ever seen a more oblong bald spot on a human?
No, dude. It's time
He's
to.
balding in different. I don't even know if he's balding or if a rat is nibbling at his hair in the middle of the night. He looks like a T-shirt I had in my drawer. And I didn't know I still had it. I dug it out. I'm like, whoa. It's got an old shirt smell. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about there? You go,
Yeah.
oh, and you look at it. It's just got random holes nibbled throughout. That's Kevin Durant's head.
It looks to me like the big part of it, because it looks like it's pink. It looks like someone chewed a bunch of big league chew and just stuck it to his
I
head.
think Durant might have a rodent problem. He needs to get his house sprayed.
Dude, it's bad.
And he said he's all ball all the time. He's not a fashion guy, not all this stuff. It's all ball. Maybe someone needs to check up on how he's living, dude.
That's right. Yeah.
Spray that house. They're eating your hair, but and don't Carlos Boozer it, okay? Show up to a game and it looks like someone took a Crayola magic marker to your head, and then covered it with a Linex coating. You're gonna have issues.
Oh my God. Oh man. All right, there you go. That's gonna do it for us today. Before we go, we got some reminders here at Toyota Field. Stuff coming up this month. Stuff coming up in the near future. As well, actually, I think all of this is coming up next month. It's coming up in February. We have our job fair.
I got you some news.
Hey, all right. It's coming up soon at Toyota Field. Our job fair. Check that out. We've got one going on in February. We'll have a food and beverage job fair going on in. All of these are for game day positions, so they are not full-time positions, but they are, you have for teenage kids or something like that, or even adults if you want to be an usher or something like that. Anything that we do on the game day that could also include camera operating. Come check out the job fair and fill out an application to be interviewed for new jobs. So come and check that out with us in February, as well as a very local baseball game. We're going to have that as well. We're going to have Auburn taking on UNA here at Toyota Field. Now, help me out here. We had.
You need me to burp you?
I had Korean food for lunch today.
Oh, I get you.
We had. I don't know why that was relevant. We had Auburn and Tennessee Tech last year, right?
Correct.
So it was easy that Auburn was the home team. Is
Mhm.
Auburn the home team against UNA here?
I believe so.
It's going to be weird, man.
Especially considering the University of North Alabama is painted on both dugouts.
Yeah, it's going to be, and I know that I'm a UNA alum. I'm going to have plenty of people. I can already feel it now, because when it's the home team, as the PA guy, I announce the home team as if I was announcing the Trash Pandas. I'm going to do that for Auburn because they're going to be the home team for that game. I'm going to get several, watch now, I'm going to get several UNA people Like, why didn't you do that for UNM? Why didn't you do that for us? We're right down the road. We're on your dugout. I guarantee that's going to happen.
That's how it goes, folks.
So.
When the LA Rams play the LA Chargers and the Rams are the away team, they take a bus to the stadium. I know that because I read that last week when they played. They get the visitors' locker room. They stay at the visitors' hotel. They ride a bus to the stadium, and they're the away team. That's how it goes, man. Don't beat yourself up. That's how it goes. That's your job. I'm an Alabama fan, and I got to go be excited to watch Auburn baseball, right? But that's my job.
How much?
I love to.
How much did that stadium cost?
What? SoFi?
Yeah.
Probably billions.
Couldn't put a third locker room in there?
Yeah,
You have 3 locker rooms?
but there's 700 suites. I mean, how many are going to cut? You can't cut down
But the suites are up here. The locker room's down here. I don't.
field level suites.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Why you can have a third locker room, dude? Like there's
If we
2
can't-
teams that call that place home. Why
If you can't host 52 bachelor parties at the same time at an LA Rams game, why even have locker rooms? Why even play the game? I make money, dude. We got to pay for this $2 million stadium.
Why can't the Rams, the Chargers, and then the visitors have a locker room? Why can't that be possible? in
That's
2020?
insanity. You realize the storage? Have you even thought about the storage?
The stadium costs over
You
$2
idiot.
million. Get a third locker room.
Have you thought about the storage needs? Come on. God, act like you've been an intern as a city planner once or twice.
I couldn't imagine the audacity. I would be so mad as either a Charger or a Ram to walk into that new stadium and look at everything and be like, wow, this is really awesome. I can't wait to see our locker room. And the Chargers are like, I can't wait to see our locker room too. And it's the same room. Are you kidding me?
How does that work? They just got to move all their stuff out.
Billions of dollars. And you couldn't get us each a locker room. And I need to make sure that they don't have their own locker rooms.
I read, man, when the Rams played the Chargers as the away team, they took a bus to the stadium. They used the visitors' locker rooms.
Oh, that's actually a question been asked.
Yeah, that's right. A look inside the Rams' locker room at SoFi. That's just going to be a look at their locker room, dude. That's not going to be the away locker room.
So finally, the Rams.
We don't have time for this. We got to end the show.
The Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Chargers have their own separate locker rooms on opposite ends of the stadium. Both locker rooms are almost identical, apart from the logo and the names of the players. Okay, so they do have their own.
But when they play each other, the away team goes to the away locker room. You shouldn't be treated like a home team. If it's your home game and you're the Chargers, the Rams shouldn't be treated like a home team. They should be treated like an away team. That's called home field advantage.
Being in your own locker is home. You can't have your own locker?
Not for an away game. When the Packers go play the New York Giants and they got to fly across the country, do they go borrow the Giants locker
The
room?
Packers and the Giants, they're not. The Rams aren't borrowing a locker room. They're borrowing the visitor locker room.
Doesn't matter. They're the away team.
They have their own.
They're the away team.
They have to sit in a hotel. Can they
They're
sleep in
the
their own
away
house?
team,
Can they sleep in
dude.
their own house?
Yeah, they can sleep in their own house.
Well, it's the same concept.
But sometimes
It's not. It's home field advantage.
I think the
You get to
Rams
sleep
did
in the
hotels.
comfort of-
Though.
You get to sleep in the comfort of your own bed instead of a hotel.
No, and I'm sure if you're a veteran, you probably get that option. But when you show up to the stadium, you're in the visitors' locker.
Hey, honey, we're playing the Chargers this week. We're away. You and the kids gotta go. Sorry, can't have you at home.
You don't have to make your family
Oh,
move
no,
out of
sorry.
your home. You
Hey,
just-
this week I have to love you from a distance.
is that what you think?
Yeah,
Is that what you think happens? All these
That's
guys
what this
kick
sounds
their,
like.
No, it doesn't. They don't
Yes,
kick
it
their
is.
family out of their home. Go, hey, well, we're playing LA, so
I'm
the
sorry. you
family
can't
doesn't
use-
stay in a hotel. The away team might.
Hey guys, sorry. Your locker, your own personal locker this week is somehow an advantage. You can't have that. That makes no sense. Zero.
Well, spoken from a guy that's never been in an away locker room, see how crappy it is. All right, it is a huge advantage. Yes, it is. You have to pack in your own stuff. You got to carry it in. You got to carry it out. You don't get the big stuff you're used to. You don't get that friendly feeling. Why do you think teams like home games, man? You got that home field. You can't have that home field as the away team.
That's silly, man.
It's not silly. It's
It is
football.
very silly.
It's silly that they have to share a stadium in a league that's worth billions. That's what's crazy. It's crazy. San Diego moved to LA knowing that they would have this situation, but it's all about the dollar bills.
It was
and
actually
that's
a smart decision because no one goes to either of their games.
to what? In
Chargers-
San Diego?
No, for two teams to share the same stadium, it is
Yeah,
smart.
but people still don't go to their games. Whenever they have
Right,
an
but
away
at least
team,
They should
they
have
get
$1 billion stadium, $1 multi-billion-dollar stadium with nobody in it instead of 2 multi-billion-dollar stadiums with nobody in it.
Yeah, but I'm saying they left a place in San Diego that had like just them as the team.
That's fair.
They moved into an area that already had a team going there. That's what you get stuck with. You get the visitor's locker room. You're the visitor. And you just so happen to be visiting your own home.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy, but that's how it goes.
I wonder if, well, I don't know how they have they're working on their own stadium now or whatever, but
Do the same thing with the Jets and Giants.
Was it always that way for the Lakers and Clippers?
Clippers?
Did they each have their own locker room, or do they share a locker room and then?
I would imagine.
I've never thought about locker room.
I've never thought about that either. Let's table this for next show.
Yeah, we're
Just some
gonna
locker talk.
All right, guys. Until next,
Or no, sorry, I'm not going to do locker room talk after that. We're going to talk about locker rooms.
yeah, that's good.
Totally different.
All right. So until Friday, we'll see you 2 to 3. I'm Tony Mack. That's Tricky Ricky. It's been the Bullpen.
Do we go back to our desk or do we go back to the visitor's desk now?
I don't know. I'm so confused. Can I love my wife this week?
I think she has to live at the neighbor's house.
Does she have to leave?
Yeah.